Millions of years have passed since the emergence of the first bipedal creatures on Earth. Now, imagine living in a world where you are not the only human species, a world where your survival depends on hunting, crafting stone tools, and competing with other human species. But how did it come to be that only one species remained? How did we, the Neanderthals, the Denisovans, and other ancient humans, come into existence? And why, in the end, did only we endure? In this video, we delve into the Middle Paleolithic era, the age of emerging human species, and the profound transformations in their way of life. Archaeologists and anthropologists estimate that the Middle Paleolithic period in Eurasia began around 400,000 years ago and ended approximately 40,000 years ago. In Africa, this period, known as the Middle Stone Age, began around 320,000 years ago and lasted until roughly 70,000 years ago. Researchers consider the Middle Paleolithic a distinct era due to the emergence of new human species and the subsequent changes in their way of life, subsistence strategies, and stone tool technologies. Around 400,000 years ago, a new human species gradually emerged in Europe, the Middle East, and Central Asia, likely as a result of speciation within certain populations of Homo heidelbergensis in Europe. This species, now known as the Neanderthals, became one of the most successful indigenous human species in Eurasia. Approximately 250,000 years ago, they had established exclusive dominance over their European territory. However, with the arrival of Homo sapiens sapiens around 40,000 years ago, Neanderthals disappeared from the evolutionary stage within a span of roughly 10,000 years. In 2010, DNA analysis of a finger bone discovered in a cave called Denisova in southern Siberia revealed the existence of an extinct human species previously unknown to science. This species, named the Denisovans, lived in Central and Southeast Asia during the Middle Paleolithic and interacted with both Neanderthals and Homo sapiens sapiens. Like the Neanderthals, Denisovans left a genetic trace in modern human DNA, particularly among present-day populations of Southeast Asia, before eventually vanishing in the face of competition with modern humans. Early Homo sapiens, humans with anatomically modern bodies but without fully modern behavior, first appeared in Africa around 315,000 years ago. They likely evolved through speciation from Homo heidelbergensis populations in Africa. These early humans represent the direct ancestors of Homo sapiens sapiens, the only surviving human species today. It is worth noting that Homo heidelbergensis persisted in parts of Europe until around 300,000 years ago, while some descendants of Homo erectus in Asia survived in Southeast Asia, modern-day Indonesia, until approximately 110,000 years ago. Another distinct human species, known as Homo floresiensis, lived on the island of Flores in Indonesia. However, scientists have yet to reach a consensus on their exact evolutionary origins. Like other archaic human species across Eurasia, these populations ultimately vanished following the arrival of Homo sapiens sapiens. The Middle Paleolithic was marked by significant climatic fluctuations, including cycles of glacial and interglacial periods, and cold and warm that caused dramatic shifts in temperature across northern and mid-latitude regions. These climatic changes likely influenced human migration patterns, encouraging early Homo sapiens to leave Africa and move into Europe and Western Asia as global temperatures warmed. Similarly, Neanderthal populations may have been forced to shift their range northward or southward in response to the advancing and retreating ice sheets, leading to encounters and interactions between different human species. During this period, human species, much like their predecessors, lived in both open-air settlements and caves. Archaeological evidence suggests that, especially in colder latitudes, They likely used animal hides to protect themselves from harsh climates, adapting to the challenging environments they inhabited. Archaeological findings provide, albeit limited, evidence of symbolic behaviors emerging during the late Middle Paleolithic. These include intentional burials, the use of ornaments made from shells, animal teeth, and bones, as well as body painting. Additionally, signs of care for the elderly and individuals with disabilities have been uncovered. Over time, newly emerging human species developed more effective hunting strategies for large animals and refined their methods of crafting stone tools. The study of archaeological layers at habitation sites, along with the remains left behind by human groups of this period, reveals their increased cognitive capacities. This, in turn, enabled them to adopt new survival strategies, better adapt to their environments, and compete with other human groups over shared resources. One of the most crucial ways to understand human interaction with the environment and to trace cultural evolution during the Paleolithic period is through a careful examination of stone tools, which are the most common archaeological artifacts from this era. These tools reflect the cognitive abilities of their makers, and their increasing complexity marks the transition from the lower to the Middle Paleolithic. Several distinct stone tool industries from the Middle Paleolithic have been identified, with the most well-known and widespread being the Mousterian and Levallois industries. During this period, large bifacial hand axes were gradually replaced by tools produced from smaller flakes detached from a prepared core. Both Homo sapiens, Neanderthals, and Denisovans employed these techniques to manufacture their stone implements. The Mousterian stone tools were first discovered at the archaeological site of Le Moustier in Dordogne, France. The oldest known site yielding these tools dates back 330,000 years and is also located in France. Mousterian tools have been found across Europe, North Africa, and West and Central Asia. These tools were often crafted using a soft hammer technique, employing bone or wood to shape the edges. A key characteristic of Mousterian tools is the extensive retouching along their edges. Toolmakers would first detach a flake from a prepared stone core and then refine its shape through careful retouching to achieve the desired final form. The Levallois technique was also widely used during this period. Named after an archaeological site near Paris, Levallois tools first emerged at the end of the Lower Paleolithic but reached their peak usage during the Middle Paleolithic, particularly among Neanderthals. This method involved a meticulous process of preparing a core by removing flakes from its perimeter, shaping it into an oval or disc-like form. Once the core was properly prepared, a single final strike would detach a flake of the desired shape, often a spear point or blade. This technique demonstrates that early toolmakers had a clear mental image of the tool they intended to produce before striking the core. The widespread use of the Levallois technique is one of the key indicators for identifying Middle Paleolithic sites. The raw materials for toolmaking were sourced from geological deposits located 30 to 40 kilometers away from human settlements in the Middle Paleolithic. This suggests that these humans had larger home ranges and engaged in regional interactions and exchange networks that enabled movement across vast distances. Microscopic studies of the edges of tools from this period reveal traces of resin and natural tar, which were used to attach the tools to wooden or bone handles. While Oldowan and Acheulean tools were handheld during use, artifacts made using the Levallois and Mousterian techniques were classified as composite tools, consisting of three main components: a handle, a stone tool, and adhesive materials. It is important to note that the predominance of Middle Paleolithic sites found in caves and rock shelters does not necessarily mean that prehistoric human communities deliberately preferred these locations for settlement. The assumption that habitation during the Quaternary period, including the lower, middle, upper, and Epipaleolithic, was primarily concentrated in caves, followed by a shift towards open landscapes as humans moved towards sedentism, is largely influenced by preservation conditions. Caves and rock shelters naturally protect archaeological remains, making them ideal sites for excavation and research. As a result, Paleolithic archaeology has historically focused more on cave sites. However, extensive surveys indicate that the number of open-air sites far exceeds that of caves. This means that, for the majority of the Paleolithic period, humans likely spent most of their time in open-air environments rather than within caves. In the upcoming videos, we will delve into the fascinating stories of the human species that lived during this period, how they thrived, and ultimately disappeared. Stay with me on this journey.